After losing her husband Maurizio in an accident, town's most beautiful girl named Francesca realizes that her husband has left her a mountain of debt to deal with in his absence. With their young daughter Giulia to think about, Francesca faces the only option available to her, which is to sell every asset she owns. Her solicitor, who is also Maurizio's best friend Cesare, tells her that everything including the car and the yacht, except the house she rents at present, has to go towards paying off her debts. Back home, Francesca is relieved to know that her housekeeper, Rosaria, is willing to work for her even without getting paid. The next day, Francesca pays a visit to her friend to ask about a job she could take at her store. She readily accepts the role of a salesgirl at the luxury store that she used to frequently visit as a customer. Her friends, Carla and Serena, feel bad for her when they see her working there, but Francesca remains determined to work for Giulia. Unfortunately, she ends up quitting the same day after being physically harassed by her boss. Francesca ends up selling the yacht to Cesare soon after, at a much lower price than it's worth. Carla and Serena pay her a visit at home later to see that most of the house is empty after Francesca sold off her furniture. When she then tells them about her wish to auction the rest of her jewelry, shoes, and clothing, including her favorite fur coat, they promise to organize things themselves. On the day of the auction, a lady specifically asks for a black dress. After replying that she is wearing that dress, Francesca drags the woman to an inner room to change out of the dress and proceeds to make an exit from the auction once she covers herself with a coat. A few nights later, a man named Enrico meets Francesca after hearing about her situation from Cesare. He tells her about his own loneliness caused due to staying away from his family. He goes on to praise her beauty heavily, hinting at being physically interested in her, and even offers to accept the responsibility for all her expenses. When she still remains unconvinced, he tries to lure her in by offering to get her a special car permit. Realizing his intentions, Francesca turns him down by pointing out that she doesn't have a car anymore. The next day, her landlord informs her that payments for the house had stopped over a year ago and that she needs to find a way to pay the rent soon. She later meets a rich commander who believes in displaying all the fakes and hiding all his original assets like priceless paintings and jewelry in the bank. In fact, even the stunning necklace he gifts Francesca is a copy. She considers for a moment that getting married to him could possibly be the solution to all her money troubles, but the sight of his dentures drives all such thoughts away. Laughing at the entire incident with her friends, Francesca suddenly notices her precious fur coat in Carla's closet. Serena tells her that Carla caught a resale after Francesca's auction. In a vengeful act, Francesca lures Carla's husband, Sandro, to her home and bullies him into buying her a new fur coat after their love session. Threatened by Francesca telling his wife about them, Sandro gives in and buys her the coat she demanded the next day. Francesca promptly sells her new coat to pay off the landlord's debts. She even pays Giulia's school fees and gets herself a good deal on a second-hand car. Later, Carla meets Francesca to tell her that she needs to return the coat to the seller since they cannot pay the installments for it. Angered when she is told that the coat is already sold, Carla informs Francesca about Maurizio's cheating. Clearly disturbed by the existence of this lady named Camilla, Francesca decides to pay the woman a visit the next day. Camilla tells her that she began seeing Maurizio about 3 years ago, but she had recently asked him to choose between herself and Francesca. She says that after making Francesca his choice, Maurizio passed away in the accident on his way home to her. Hearing Camilla accept that Maurizio made the right choice does nothing to help make Francesca feel better about her husband's deeds. Instead, she angrily flushes her wedding ring down the toilet. Finally coming to terms with the fact that she can offer her beauty in return for money, Francesca contacts Cesare and tells him about her plan to set up a lottery. She declares herself as the prize of this lottery and says that she will stay with the winner for the next 4 years. By limiting the draw to 20 people who will pay $100 million to enter the raffle, she provides fair odds for winning. Additionally, she also tells him of her plans to pay off her remaining debts with the money she receives and hopes to get her life back after 4 years. When Cesare questions her about what this lottery would mean for her reputation in society, she says that since Maurizio's cheating didn't affect anybody, she should also be able to act as per her wishes. She also offers him a cut from the proceeds in return for him making all the arrangements as per her instructions, and also for not entering the raffle himself. After making sure everything is in place just as she asked him, Cesare takes her to a party one evening, which he says some people who know about her raffle will be attending. Enrico finds her at the party and assures her that he will win her. On the way back, Cesare tells her that the notary who helped him put everything together is eager to enter the lottery along with his partner. Francesca reminds him that she will not accept a couple entry of this kind. When she meets the notary and his wife a few days later, they assure her that they are entering the lottery separately and that Francesca will not be disappointed with whoever wins. Not only does Francesca accept this proposal, but she also accepts other strange requests. One man wanted to see her from afar while staying anonymous, while another showed her a video of what he would like them to do if he wins. Francesca's mother-in-law meets her one day and offers to let Giulia stay with her in order to keep her far away from her mother's plans. Francesca angrily tells her that she does not have the rights over Giulia now, especially when she didn't bother to help them with handling their expenses and Maurizio's debts earlier. Another man that wishes to enter the lottery turns out to be an old farmer living outside town. During their meeting, he calls Francesca a vulgar woman and throws her out when he learns that her intentions for the raffle are purely financial. Another day, Giulia shows Francesca a board game gifted to her by Serena's daughter. Francesca clearly sees the intent behind the gift as the game is called the raffle. Speaking to her the next day, Francesca realizes that Serena was hurt because her husband, Gustavo, has also decided to enter the lottery. She tries telling her friend that she will reject his entry, but she drives away without listening to her. Francesca then heads to Gustavo's workplace to demand that he withdraw his name from the lottery. She reminds him that Maurizio was one of his best friends, which makes his intent questionable. He reminds her about it not being an issue since every single person in the raffle was Maurizio's friend. At yet another party, Francesca learns that Camilla has also entered the raffle and is confident of winning. She immediately asks Cesare to return everyone's money and cancel the entire event. Sensing his chance, Cesare suggests that she could just as easily pick him for a possibility of a happy life instead of leaving things to chance among 20 unknown people. Agreeing that he was indeed the lesser of the two evils and her better option, she accepts his offer, but they are interrupted by another woman. Seeing Cesare's true nature, Francesca leaves with the realization that she cannot trust anyone. On her way to drop Giulia at school the next day, Francesca runs over a man called Antonio with her car. After sending Giulia to school with Rosaria, Francesca is left alone at home with Antonio. Despite knowing that he isn't really hurt, she goes along with his demands as they both realize that they have fallen for each other. They go out and spend the day together, at the end of which he confesses his feelings to her. Rejecting him by saying that they hardly know each other, Francesca gets ready to meet Enrico again that night. He informs her of his disappointment in having to withdraw his entry from the raffle since he cannot risk his public reputation. Antonio interrupts their conversation and introduces himself as Francesca's lover. An angry Enrico drags Antonio away and has his security beat him up. When Francesca finds him in that condition, he confesses his love to her once again. He drops her home later that night and finds that he is unable to leave without kissing her. The next morning, Cesare accompanies Francesca to meet an old man at his residence. Apparently, he wished to see her dressed in white before deciding to enter the raffle. Once satisfied, he pays Cesare in cash and becomes the last entry for the lottery. An extremely happy Cesare informs her that they are now ready to put their plan into action over the weekend. He interprets the absence of a reaction from her as her excitement and nervousness for the raffle, but what he doesn't know is that Francesca was only thinking about her new relationship with Antonio. Returning home that afternoon, she finds Antonio bonding with Giulia. In her current situation, Francesca realizes that she might get just one chance to be with Antonio since she would belong to someone else after that weekend. Making the most of this chance, she engages in a love session with him at his place, and later lays awake in bed, sadly thinking about what her life has become. When Francesca is leaving early the next morning, Antonio hints knowing all about her raffle deal. He goes on to suggest that they keep seeing each other secretly over the next 4 years instead of canceling the raffle and wasting the money. At this, she knows that she put her trust in the wrong person yet again. Meanwhile, an anonymous tip about the raffle leads to a raid at Cesare's office, implying that he could soon be facing several legal charges, including gambling and unauthorized lottery among others. A little later, he explains the situation to everyone who entered the lottery and assures them that he is working on a solution to save them all. He also tells them that Francesca will deny everything about the raffle when the prosecutor calls her in. Accompanied by one of Cesare's staff, Francesca visits the prosecutor and accepts her knowledge about the raffle instead. She further explains that a few of Maurizio's friends got together and created the raffle to help her and Giulia. Commenting on Cesare's generosity, she also mentions that the prize of the raffle is the yacht that he bought from her. Discussing how everything played out, Cesare tells the others that Francesca may now have close to 2 billion but she has managed to save every single one of them. While most of them are still grumpy about having lost money over nothing, Cesare reminds them that it is better than being imprisoned. Little do they know that the person who called in the tip and caused all the trouble is Francesca herself, and she was already on her way out of the country with Giulia and Rosaria. So guys, please share your thoughts about this story in the comment section. If you enjoyed it, feel free to give it a thumbs up, and if you didn't, you can give it a thumbs down. Don't forget to subscribe to the Explanation Pro for more exciting upcoming videos. Your feedback is valuable to me, so please let us know what you think.